Welcome, it's Lonnie, and it's day 12 of Abide in April, and today's prompt is fruitful. If you're following along with us, I have a prompt guide on the communities portion of this channel, and it's a calendar with words on it, and we're using those as prompts if you want. So the verse I picked today is Mark 4, verses 18 and 19. And others, it's talking about the seed and the word. Others are the ones sown with seed among the thorns. These are the ones who have heard the word, but the worries of the world and the deceitfulness of wealth and the desires for other things enter and choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. I picked this verse because we're spending this extra time in the Word, and I would hate for it to just be one of those things that we do and it doesn't bear any fruit in us. So I thought this was a good verse that speaks to that. So you can spend time in the Word, but how does it become fruitful rather than fruitless? So I look at my own life. Hearing the word is not a problem. I enjoy hearing the word. I enjoy listening to sermons. But more and more lately, it's the worries of the world, especially where we're at the end here, where the worries of the world want to come in and choke out the word. The deceitfulness of wealth, again, with all the costs and inflation and things going up in price, it's a challenge to stay focused. The desires for other things choke the word, and it becomes unfruitful. So for myself, and tell me if you have a different way of experiencing this, or how do you handle this? For myself, I tend to spend more time in the Word. What used to be enough doesn't seem to cut it anymore. I find that I need to be in the Word more and more because I want the Word front and center. I don't want it to be choked out. So that's kind of my strategy. And of course, I pray about the worries so that they're no longer worries. And yeah, so I figure if I can do, what I can do, then hopefully the word will not be unfruitful in me. Again, just my take on that. So I put the verse on a flip card today, and what I want to do is just attach it with glue, probably. I could have just straight glued it in, but in case you're working on another journal and you need to know how to do this, if you put it in as a flip, you put it in like so, then you have your verse hanging over the page, and then if you want to have space to write something else yet, you just flip up the card and there you have this whole page empty yet. My page choice, or my paper choice, is frustrating me just a bit because it's so very thin, and I find I always want to cover it up because the words are showing through. So what I did was I made a pocket, and this is the pocket. And I thought if you wanted to see how I made it, we could make one together. So what I want to do, it's a doily, it's a 6.5 inch. You could use a smaller one or a bigger one depending on what you want to put inside. I think too small, it might be too frustrating. Too big, and it obviously wouldn't fit. But something like this, because I had a picture in mind for the fruitful bit, and whenever I think fruitful, I think cherries or grapes, and so I drew this picture. It's still wet because I colored it with watercolor. So I drew this picture of cherries, and like I said, I colored it with watercolor so it's not quite dry. But there's that, and I wanted to put that into this pocket. And I know it fits now because I already had to cut it down. But there, it will fit, but I'm gonna let it dry first before I commit it to its home here. Another way to do that would be to make a pocket and then stick the verse inside. Or you could make extra verses that talk about fruitfulness and stick them inside. So anyways, again, I got this idea from Tina at Shabby Dabby Doodah. I kind of wish she would change her name because I really don't like saying Shabby Dabby Doodah. But anyways, I guess it's kind of cute because it makes one smile when one says it, right? If you haven't tried it, say it, Shabby Dabby Doodah. Anyways. Okay, so look her up if you want to watch long tutorials, because that's what she offers. Okay, so I didn't coffee dye these yet. I had just ordered them and they just came. And I thought actually they would be a little bit bigger, but they're not. Alright, so you need a doily, and then you need to make sure that that doily is gonna be big enough that you can make a pocket around it. So basically what I do now is fold the doily around the edges, and I don't glue that part down because that would just be a mistake. Okay, so something like this. If you don't want the edges showing, you kind of gotta fold it in just a little bit more down here. Like so, and then you do glue this part, and you have to be a little bit careful so that it doesn't go through the holes. Now the other part that is this doily here has a couple of extra features. It's got the digital in the back to add stability, and it's got a little decoration here. So I hadn't really planned this out yet, but let me go get a piece of paper that will work. Okay, so this will work. It's just a piece of book page that I had, and I drew some leaves in black. So it will work, I think. I think it'll make a nice background in there. So what I'm going to do is basically just, well, the bottom doesn't really matter, so I'm just going to trim the the bottom doesn't matter because it'll be hidden. I'm just going to trim this out. And it could be book page, it could be magazine pages, it could be a copy of a verse, it could be anything really. It's something you don't mind looking at because it's going to be in there and you'll see it. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty close. Alright, so I'm going to just take that out, and then I'm going to glue. I'm going to put glue on the doily so that I know where the holes are, and I don't need to get it more messy than it needs to be. Because this backing will be permanent. Alright, so stick that in there pretty close to the bottom. Now with the first one I made a mistake. I put the glue over here and then I put it down. That's not the thing to do. What you want to do is fold the bottom over first and then get the sides ready to glue down, but you only want to put glue on the bottom part here because you want your picture or the thing you're putting in, you want it to be able to move. So it can only be stuck down where they're in between the doilies. So we have to try to not get it into the holes there. So I'm hoping this will work. Trying to see how far the doily's gonna go over there. Like so. And then if it needs more, you can always add just a little bit more. Shouldn't take too much. But yeah, Tina at Shabby Dabby Doodah did these, and she made a whole lot of them. She mass makes, so her video is like an hour long. She has some really good ideas. Alright, so I think I want to round the corners on that as well. Well, I would if I could. If your paper is too thin, you'll have a challenge. That kind of just chewed it up. Oh well. That happens sometimes. Alright, so okay, so that piece is in, and then to tie it to the back, which is what this piece does here, I was thinking of maybe tearing out a piece here. Obviously, you don't have to do any of this if you don't want to. I don't know, I like to do stuff. So it could go something like that. It's a little long. And I think what I want to do is just tear off a little bit from the bottom. Something like that. Or I did it again. I meant to put this on the inside. Oh well, maybe this time I will just cover that up. Again, you guys don't tell me this stuff, so I don't know when I'm messing up until after. Oh well, that's alright. And I didn't ink it either. I did ink this one. I don't actually mind that. I think the contrast is there. I can still ink the outside now if I want. Okay, so let's see, which one looks more like it has something to do with fruit. I think this one. So I'm gonna pick this one. And so from the back, again, there's different ways of doing this. If you wanted to make a tuck, you could just glue it on those two sides. If you wanted to make an extra pocket, you could just glue it on the three sides and leave the top open, or these three sides and then leave this open. You know, just so many ways. But for myself, I'm just gonna stick it down. Because I wanted to cover up that page with the writing showing. All right, so then you want to draw some cherries. I want to draw some other fruit. Maybe I could try some grapes this time, since I already got the cherries there. We'll just do this as well. And I want to see if this still fits. Don't tell me. Don't tell me I glued something where I wasn't supposed to. I'm just gonna grab something and see. It does look like I got glue coming out somewhere. There we go. It's unstuck. So something to watch for, and that's the doily because it has the holes in it. All right, now let's see if this will fit. And it will. So I don't have to cut it down any further. All right, so I think I'm gonna ink this first before I put it in there, before I draw on it, so that I don't forget later. Alright, so grapes. I haven't drawn grapes very much. Let's see. I'm just gonna, I don't even know how they attach. They attach on the inside, right? So all you see is the actual grapes. So I'm gonna start with one grape and tell my pen to cooperate. And then, this could be interesting. This could be a disaster. Alright, so I imagine them kind of like, here's the stem, and the grapes are covering up the stem. And the grapes are kind of in and behind there. And too, every bunch of grapes I think I've ever seen has looked different. They've got things sticking out in different places. Something like that. Except the leaves are like jaggedy, right? Some of you actually have grapes and you know exactly what I'm doing wrong here. But be as it may. Fruit is not my specialty. It's the Lord's, because He works the fruit in me. But if I make it like that, it kind of looks jaggedy, right? Alright, so I got a lot of space here yet, so I think alright, something like that. I'm just gonna quickly watercolor that. Alright, so I did use my heat gun to dry them. Anyways, I'm not an artist, so there's my disclaimer. I do like to draw, and I like to watercolor. So there you go, I played, and why not? Because I think the Lord wants us to have fun in His Word too, and not just have it be stuffy all the time. So anyways, I now have 2 cards to put in my pocket. But I don't want to rip it, so I'm going to just stick with one. And there it is. And 2, you can always cut that down if it turns out it's not quite right. Alright, so there you go. That's what I have for you today. I wish you a blessed day, and we'll see you again next time. Bye for now.